Alex, maybe if you don't see Karula, maybe a mother is good enough, huh?
Yeah,
What do you think?
Really.
The old lady.
Well done.
The one that has lived with great wisdom and reached the old age for a leopard. We'll just sit here for now at the moment. She's always relaxed, but this is the first vehicle she's seeing since maybe yesterday, so giving her a bit of time is always a good idea. Carcass is getting a bit old now, you can smell it. Still good food for her. Leopards don't have a problem with eating carrion. Shall we say the old food. Our stations, Safari the Ingwe is on the Nyama again, Kojaring a little bit. Just ease in a little bit. Turn slightly. Beautiful, beautiful cat. Any leopard is always mesmerizing. If it's a leopard that you know the story and the history of a little bit. Mentioned before, Safari I've known since quite a few years ago, early 2000s. Seeing her again and having gotten to know her daughter very well, all adds into a really nice feeling.
Peter,
Yes.
if Safari and Karula come across each other, will Safari or Karula recognize one another, or will they be enemies?
Alex, I don't think they'll be enemies. I spoke to Rexon about this a while back as well. And there is occasion where they'll even link up. I mean, there won't be this sort of massive friendship, if you want. They're not going to sit down and have a cup of tea. But there won't necessarily be a great amount of animosity. I mean, the main thing why leopards are territorial, is, at least in my understanding of it, is to protect resources. In other words, access to food and water. As long as one's not stealing the other one's food, there won't be that much animosity and probably a great deal of interest as well. Oh, she's just beautiful, huh? Keep in mind she's quite old. I said the other day, as far as I could understand from Rexon, about 13 years. Which is quite old for a leopard. Obviously she's still a good hunter. This is a fairly good size impala. Keep in mind that she's done all her hunting for the last many years with one eye, having lost the benefit of binocular forward-facing vision, same as we do, most predators, giving an excellent judge of, or ability to judge distance. She's also raised a whole range of cubs very successfully. She's also a very good mother. In some aspects now a great-grandmother. Just as she's chewing there, it's interesting, maybe we've got such a beautiful view of her feeding at the moment. A lot of your predators and all your big hunting animals, both cats and dogs, they've got the canine teeth, which are obviously very important, but it's not what they use for feeding. They're very important teeth when it comes to catching the food, being able to kill the prey, whether it's by suffocation, others to grab hold of the throat and suffocate the animal. Or in the case of leopards especially, they're very good at biting into the neck vertebra and severing the spinal cord or the nerves in the spinal column. That's where the canine teeth are very important. Now what she's doing right at the moment, if you look at how she's chewing there, unfortunately you can't hear it. I can just hear it from here. She's using the carnassial shears, those teeth, sort of the equivalent of our molar teeth if you want, that part of the jaw. And they're very, very sharp edges. And they've also cut very close to each other, the same as scissors do. And without those teeth, most of your carnivores will be unable to feed, because they won't be able to cut through meat, they won't be able to cut into tissue and skin, and that way get to the obviously very high protein food that they're after. Interesting enough, also those long whiskers. Look at the design of the animal. Again, there's a certain benefit in them. You can imagine walking around at night, very dark, you're hunting in difficult conditions, moving extremely slow, using soft padded feet. Those whiskers are handy. They give you a sense of where your face is going to move through, grass blades and branches and twigs. Those whiskers, you want to actually grab something. Let's say they're holding onto something's throat, busy catching their food. Of course, that's a very potentially dangerous position as well. If that animal suddenly gets loose, might have sharp horns or big hooves or something that can damage your back. So there's also always the potential risk of injury or even death in a hunt for the predator. Those whiskers come into play as well. If they're holding onto something's throat, they can actually feel when that animal's heart stops beating. Those whiskers giving them literally a finger on the pulse, if you want. It's another use, if you want, for those whiskers. And leopards, I think, of all the cats, probably got by far the most impressive whiskers. Beautiful if you look at it carefully, how long they actually are, even on an old girl like this one. I think she's also done particularly well during this, shall we say, the story of this carcass, in the sense that she hasn't lost it to hyenas. Obviously she's hidden it well enough, and also been lucky enough, obviously there's just a certain amount of luck involved, that hyenas haven't found this carcass. There's even been lions. Those two Manyaleti males came past here during the course of Monday afternoon late, and she was already around, and again managed to miss her. It's been good for her, and obviously quite good for us, enabling us to have a good look at her. Really getting into the nitty gritty there now. Looks like she's eating on the back leg there, around the big bones. Also look at how she's using the tongue. Another part that you find also with lions and so on is they've got very rough tongues, almost like little nails in it if you want. Very, very coarse texture to the tongue, and again, various uses for it. Lapping up water when they're drinking, for instance. But also literally being able to lick meat off bones like she's doing at the moment. Making sure that you can get the maximum benefit from what food you've got available.